shuffle up and deal.
100 million players worldwide. 50 million in the U.S. alone. One of the world's most popular games has exploded into mainstream sport. Everyone's anteing up for the biggest card game on the planet, poker. From coast to coast and around the world, the World Poker Tour is ground zero for the highest stakes.
This is a $2.4 million fight.
The hottest action.
Here we go. This could be everything. The river is a
Not
seven.
gonna do it.
Gus Hansen has won this tournament.
And the wildest competition ever to grace a felt table. You'll learn strategy, secrets on table image, tips from the winners, and how to lay your cards on the table and play poker with the pros. Who knows, this show could turn you into the next World Poker Tour millionaire.
I'm Lou Diamond Phillips, and this is a special 101 edition of the World Poker Tour. First things first, the ranking of the hands. Now, I know you know what beats a pair, but I'm sure there's some of you out there who've been relying a little too heavily on those cheat sheets. So here's the lowdown on what beats what. Let's break it down. A pair is two cards of the same rank, like two fives or two jacks. And even though you can win a hand of Hold'em with a pair, this is the low hand on the ladder. Every other hand beats a pair, except the lower pair. Next up, two pair. The name says it all. And the only thing you'll beat with two pair is one pair. Three of a kind, also called a set, like 3 tens or 3 kings. It's a good hand. Three of a kind will beat any two pair or a pair, but it's still not the best hand you can have in poker. A straight is 5 consecutive cards of mixed suits. Ace, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, in a straight, an ace can either be a low card or a high card. Next up, flush. It's 5 cards of the same suit in any order. A flush is a great hand. It beats a straight, 3 of a kind, 2 pair, and a pair. A full house. 3 cards of one rank and 2 of another, like 3 fives and 2 queens. The lingo for this is fives full of queens, and this hand beats all the previous hands. 4 of a kind. It's just what it says. 4 cards of the same rank. If you've got 2 jacks in the hole, and a jack comes up on the flop, and another one comes up on the river, you're a very lucky player, my friend. Now, the only thing that can beat 4 of a kind is a straight flush. 5 consecutive cards, straight, of the same suit, flush. Like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of diamonds. And the best straight flush you can possibly get is a royal flush, which is a straight flush with an ace on top. Any questions? Let's review. 1 pair, 2 pair, 3 of a kind, straight, flush, full house, 4 of a kind, straight flush, royal flush. Got it? Good. Okay, so you've been watching the World Poker Tour every week, and you've been playing in your own regular game for years. But do you have any idea where poker came from? Do you care? Well, you should. Because knowing a little bit of poker's past could help you be a better player in the future. The theories on the origins of poker are just as varied as the game itself. The most popular theory traces poker back to a game called poke, which was brought to America by the French who settled New Orleans in the early 1700s. Poke was a game of bluffing and betting, and was the first game to use a deck made up of spades, diamonds, clubs, and hearts. Poker traveled from New Orleans up the Mississippi River until it landed in Vicksburg around 1863 for one of the longest battles of the Civil War. With little to do but write home and play cards, poker fever spread. At the end of the war, both Union and Confederate soldiers took poker home, and its popularity soared. From 5-card stud to 7-card draw, and all the variations in between, poker has stood the test of time and has become richer with each generation. But the game that decides who will be the champion of them all is a variation of 7-card stud.
The game is No Limit Hold'em, the Cadillac of poker. It's a game that takes a minute to learn and a lifetime to master.
First, the players ante up and are dealt 2 cards, face down. These are called the hole cards, or the pocket. In home games, players take turns dealing. In casinos, a white disc known as the dealer button moves around the table, indicating who is the hypothetical dealer for that hand.
Okay, the button moves forward now. Chris Bigler is on the button.
The two players to the left of the dealer button have forced bets called blinds. The blinds ensure that there's action and money in the pot in every hand.
The blinds are $10,000 and $20,000, and we're playing with a $2,000 ante. That means it costs $40,000 to play one round of poker.
Yeah, it starts pushing it up. Makes them make decisions a little bit faster here, right?
And as the game progresses, the blinds go up.
We're now anteing $3,000. The blinds are now $15,000 and $30,000.
Once a player makes a bet, the other players can call it, which means they match it.
I call you.
They can raise it.
He's raising on the King 7 offsuit.
Or fold.
Action's on Jamie Lidger. He folds.
Then, 3 community cards called the flop are dealt face up.
Okay, seeing as they want to see a flop, let's see one.
He said, let's see a flop.
Who's going to get lucky?
Flop comes King 10-6.
This sets off another round of betting.
Antonio quickly checked.
Oh, he's betting it.
Then the 4th card, called the turn or 4th street, is dealt. And there's another round of betting. The 5th and final card, called the river or 5th street, is dealt, which leads to the final round of betting.
I'm all in.
The 5 cards in the center are common to all the players, who use them in combination with their hole cards to make the best possible 5-card poker hand.
It's King Queen versus King Jack. What a call by Antonio here.
No, not yet. Big favorite Antonio is still in front after 3 cards. Let's see the next one. Nope, it's not going to do it for Phil.
Phil Hellmuth needs a jack or he will be out of this tournament in 4th position. And a queen comes up at the river. Antonio wins the pot.
As poker great Johnny Moss once said, Hold'em is to stud and draw what chess is to checkers.
Whoa, look at this. Hansen has picked up 2 kings on the button, playing heads up. Just a monster.
And No Limit sets Hold'em on fire. Because in No Limit Hold'em, the sky's the limit on how much you can bet.
I'm all in.
Gus re-raises all in 1 second.
No Limit Texas Hold'em, the game that's played in every WPT championship event.
I'm gonna raise. I call.
It's fast and furious and the highest of high stakes.
I'm all in.
All you can eat. He's doing it. He's going all in.
He's pushing it all in.
Or, as another poker legend put it, limit poker is a science. No limit is an art.
Johnny Donaldson has picked up the big papa, the 2 aces, the pocket rockets, and now what's he going to do with them?
In limit, you're shooting at a target.
Well, look at the devilfish. He's going to raise it.
You sure you want to do that?
Oh, look at this. Look at the talk.
I'll let you know in 5 minutes' time.
In No Limit, the target comes alive and shoots back at you.
Well, Fish, it's been good to know you, old partner.
Okay, so well, let's go for it all.
Poker's a game to be played, but you're never going to master it. I don't care who you are. Anybody can beat anybody on any day.
Okay, here we go.
Last card.
Bang, there it is. What a call he made there with the ace-9 of hearts.
Up next on the World Poker Tour, tournament champions reveal their secrets of survival.
One bad decision can cost you a lot of money.
And later,
My only weapon is my chips.
find out how to use that weapon to knock your opponents out of the game.
There it is. Phil Gordon's done it.
The boardroom table and the poker table. The only difference between them is a layer of felt. At these tables, we go all in. We're fully leveraged. Reading risk and reward here isn't much different than reading it on a spreadsheet. We play because poker's like business, without the conference calls. The office may close at 6, but there's a game that's always open. We play at fulltiltpoker.com.
So, now you know what hand beats what, and you know the rules of No Limit Texas Hold'em. Does this make you a poker player? Not yet.
the action is going to be on Stan Goldstein.
You know, he's been sitting there very quiet. He's been pushed around. But now he has a real hand. He's going all in, Mike.
So many times will come up where you have to play the player or the situation, not the two cards you get.
Stan, who has an ace-7, is contemplating. He's a short stack. He's sort of desperate. Is this where he wants to make his stand? That's what he's thinking about right now.
Well, I change my style every day. I won't play tomorrow with these 5 players as I would with another 5 players. I don't know until what seed I draw, who has how many chips in front of them.
The game of poker is a complex pattern of information. The cards are just one part of the puzzle. Table position is another.
You have to pick your points, making the right move at the right time of whatever bet you make, in whatever position you're in. So position means a whole lot in poker.
In tournament poker, table position is the luck of the draw. Seats are drawn at the beginning of the tournament.
Side down, table 37, seat 6.
As players are eliminated, tables are broken down, and the remaining players are distributed to the other tables.
But I thank God for the seat I'm in.
The action moves clockwise around the table,
Andy had moved up on the scale in pretty good position.
starting with the player to the left of the dealer button. And even though the button moves around the table with each hand, you get to see what the player to your right does, and you have to anticipate what the player to your left will do.
If a guy lost a big pot the hand before, he might play the next hand, based upon that hand he just lost, and that happens a lot. So you got to be a little bit more careful because the guy just lost the last hand, so he's probably going to tend more towards playing the next hand.
Here comes Lane. He's jumping in the bucket here. Lane bets $25,000.
Look at this. Phil thinks it's happy days are here again. You got your sucker on your right betting into you when you caught you straight.
I'm all in.
This is a $250,000 raise Phil Ivey just made. Unbelievable.
They're to the right of me. If they were to the left of me, I'd be in a lot more trouble. But being to the right of me, I can use their aggressiveness to my advantage, hopefully.
Now Lane folds Jack 4 in the button, and here comes aggressive Phil Ivey. Peter has picked up a monster hand, the big blind, an ace-queen.
Well, I wouldn't call it a monster, but it's a pretty solid hand.
It's a big hand against a blind, believe me. And he calls. He doesn't re-raise. He just calls. We're going to see a flop.
Aggressive players on your right means you get to see their action before you make a move.
Oh, this is very interesting.
I'm all in.
He's going.
Whoa. Peter takes his glasses off. Look at this. Now, this is all his money. He's going to be broke if he loses this pot.
I'm going to let you have it.
He lets him have it. A big laydown right there by Peter Dordana.
But if you're on the other end of the table, those players are on your left. That's a whole different story.
I'm sitting in front of both of those guys. I'm on Lane's right, and Phil Ivey's on his left. Come on.
Ron Rose's first act here. He's got the ace-4 of diamonds. He's short on chips, and there he goes. He goes all in. Lane has picked up a queen-jack here. He's thinking about calling here. On the other hand, he knows everybody else has yet to act behind him.
Lane's going to be raising it and betting it, and Phil's probably going to be re-raising him, so it comes around to me. I'm either going to be folding or raising, I guess, is about the only two things I can do. I can't bet, I don't think. So I'm going to have a hard time tomorrow.
Poor Ron just stumbling around the wrong way all day long. Now, a 7 comes on the turn. Now, this gives Ron more outs. He needs a 3, 4, and 8, or he's out of this tournament.
8, 4, 3, yes.
And
Not
he is
going to do it.
Ron Rose is going to be our 6th place finisher.
My only weapon is my chips.
In the words of a New York gambler named Big Julie, the guy who invented gambling was bright, but the guy who invented the chip was a genius.
The advantage of having all the chips is you can make a mistake, or you can play super aggressive, and if you happen to lose one, you're still in good shape.
Chips aren't just a way of keeping score. They combine with the cards to form the very language of the game. What you do with your chips, how and when you bet, or check, or raise, is a way of communicating with your opponents.
Our chip leader going into the final table is one of the young Lions.
Phil Ivey, the Tiger Woods of poker. He's our chip leader, starting today with 271,500 in chips.
You know, every decision you make is based on your chip count. I mean, if I have 270,000, I could play a little aggressive. If I go down to 80,000, somehow I lose a big pot, now I have to play a little more careful. So, you know, I got to base my decisions, you know, on my chip count.
Here we go again. Our youngster is going to battle again. Lane has 2 6s.
And how many chips you have in relation to your opponent will determine the way you play.
And he's raising it.
He's going to raise it. Oh, Phil quickly throws his hand away.
Well, he had junk. That's why he's throwing it away.
Sure.
You're going to play very slow and very cautious and let, you know, once you get down to 2-3 players, now the game changes. Now instead of winning 45,000, you're guaranteed 100,000.
Comes in for 12,000.
Now you can change your play. You just made 60,000.
Another element of tournament poker that eats away at your chips are the blinds. As the dealer button moves around the table, the 2 players to the immediate left of the button are forced to make bets. The first is called the small blind. That's half a bet. The second is the big blind, a full bet. The players do not see their cards until after their money is on the table. They are betting blind.
Okay, the price of poker has gone up. The ante is now $100 and the blinds are $500 and $1,000.
The blinds ensure action. If you've just put $6,000 in the big blind, you're going to want to play your hand. And if you've got bad cards, you have some tough decisions to make.
They're called blinds because you have to put the money in the pot before you get your cards.
Depending on the tournament, these blinds can increase every hour, hour and a half, or 2 hours, notching up the pressure on the players. Betting, or money management, is an art.
Look at Jennifer on the button. She has picked up 2 aces, the very best hand possible.
Knowing how much to bet.
Now notice she just bet 2,000. It's the minimum raise. Now this is going to puzzle these guys. 7 of hearts.
When and against whom
Look at this.
is key.
Why only 2,000, Jen?
He wants to know if this is a trap. We know why she's raised so little. She's got the best hand possible.
But poker can be as random as life itself. The only sure thing is there's no such thing as a sure thing.
Well, some people say it's luck. My definition of luck is being in the right place at the right time and being prepared to take advantage of the situation.
I'm going to re-raise.
He's going to re-raise with the ace-jack. Whoa. Bold play by Peter again.
So now we all know how to walk the walk. But in order to maintain that poker pro image, you're going to need to know how to talk the talk.
He's going to put it all in. He's going all in with the ace-king.
He has done it. Now this gives Gus a double belly buster straight. He said, I'm tappy, all in.
Jacques going all in with it.
Jacques Duran has moved all in with an ace-6 offsuit. What a bold play by the Frenchman here.
If French is the international language of love, then poker is the international language of money.
Jag spelar poker.
Le croupier.
Tất cả các bạn mà
The game of poker can seem like a foreign country, unless you know the language of the land.
All in. Chris moves all in.
Whoa. When you go all in, that means you're putting all your chips into the pot.
And he's not. He's going all in. He has moved over the top of Chris right here for all his chips. A bold play by Alan Cunningham.
When you go all in over the top, that means you're putting in all your chips after your opponent has made a bet.
Flop comes 5, 9, 10. 2 clubs.
Now this means both players have flopped a gut shot straight draw. Scotty has a queen-8 where a jack would make him a straight, and Yuanda has a king-jack where a queen would make him a straight. So Yuanda has the best hand here.
A belly buster straight draw, or a gut shot straight draw, is a straight that's missing a middle card.
Here comes Howard. Look at this. Howard's going to raise him. Howard is check, raise, land flat here.
To check raise is to play weak, and then raise over the top of your opponent.
I think what the people have to know out there is that in tournament conditions, heads up.
Heads up is when the game is down to 2 players.
I get there and I give you that.
Scotty made a great lay down there.
To lay down is to fold a strong hand in a critical situation.
As we know, Gus Hansen has ace-king with the king of hearts. Right on 4th Street, Gus Hansen made the nuts.
When you have the nuts, you have the best possible hand.
Allen, on the other hand, has swapped an open-end straight draw, where an ace or a 9 will make him the best possible hand.
An open-end straight draw is 4 consecutive cards just waiting to become a straight.
Now Dewey's got an 8-10. Now look at this. This is crazy. He's raising with this hand. Sure, he'll fold the 10s, but he's going to raise with an 8-10 offsuit.
Well, he might be steaming a little bit here, Vince.
Yeah.
A player who's steaming or on tilt is playing recklessly. This is usually the result of losing a critical hand.
Chris Bigler is the tightest player in the game.
When you're tight, you're conservative, and you only play the best hands. So, if you're heads up with a belly buster straight draw and your opponent's notoriously tight, don't start steaming when he check raises and goes all in over the top.
Later,
if you really want to be good, pay attention to the winning players.
Winning secrets from the pros when the World Poker Tour returns.
Welcome back. I'm Lou Diamond Phillips, and this is a special how-to edition of the World Poker Tour. Now, poker is a form of social Darwinism. The fit survive, and the weak go broke. So if you want to move up the food chain and play poker with the pros, you'll need a few more tricks, from the inside and out.
Sometimes you're not playing poker, sometimes you're playing people.
Well, Vince, I got to tell you, even though Howard won that pot, I'm so impressed with the way Lane Flack played that hand. He lost the least he could lose with those 2 7s.
I believe in Pavlov's law. My goal is to condition somebody to do what I want them to do.
You're welcome. One of the best ways to get your opponent to do what you want is to know what he's done in the past. Information is power. And in poker, that information is called table image.
Table image is your entire poker history. Up to that point that the other players at the table know about. Usually in No Limit Hold'em, you want your opponents afraid of you. So when you come over the top of that, and when you come into the pot with a raise, they'll fold and they'll give you the pot.
And he calls the 9 out.
Andy has a pair of 9s. He's going over the top. He's going all in.
He's gone all in over both of them. It's a nice play by Andy right here. Phil Ivey's got a 6 and an 8. There's no chance he's going to call this.
No, he's not going to.
If you're a very aggressive player, you might be able to, you can just pick up extra chips without doing anything just because of your table image.
While most pros are fluent in game theory, almost none of them rely on it entirely.
I see myself as someone who has certainly studied the game, so I know the math, and I know a lot of the technical aspects that go into good play.
Here we go. Oh, man. This is big for Howard. He's just flopped 3 of a kind.
Now look at the look. He's trying to stay calm, cool, and collected. Will he check or will he lead out at this flop?
Look at this poker face.
You know, he raised before the flop. And he's going to bet after the flop.
Okay, he's making a little massage bet there.
Lane Flack has got a decision here. He calls.
He's calling. He's got kings and 7s. Not bad.
It's not a bad flop for Lane's hand, actually.
This card is a 10.
10 comes on the turn.
Look at Howard checking, like pretending like he has to look at his hand again. He's doing a little acting job here. Oh, boy.
And then he checks, and Lane wisely checks behind him.
The
6 comes at the river.
King, 10, 6, 5.
I also have made it my business to really study human nature and study the mannerisms and all the other stuff that happens at a poker table, and I try and incorporate that into my decision making.
Look at Howard here. Now Howard just has an ace-jack. Nothing on that flop, nothing out there helps his hand. He checks.
Last card.
The board pairs 3s. look at Lane. He's jumping out there trying to steal this pot with king high. And he bets 35,000.
This is very interesting.
Now look at this. Now Howard, staring him down. Look at this. Howard actually thinks this ace high is the best hand, and it is the best hand. He calls 35,000 with an ace high. What a play by Howard Lederer right there.
That's a great call by Howard.
Boy, oh boy, he read Lane Flack like a book on that play.
No Limit Hold'em is a game of wits and psychology that depends more on skill and character than on receiving good cards.
Intuition is what I think we commonly call a read. You kind of just get this feeling, and you do a little analysis in your mind, and you see if it matches up, and you go with it. That's called the read or intuition.
You've got to be able to read people. You've got to be able to know what they're going to do before they do it, you know. I don't know, it's just like a sixth sense that you pick up, you know, if you're good, you know.
When you're reading your opponent, what you're looking for is a tell.
Now notice that voice when he bets that in, Benson. Yeah. That's a tell. I'm telling you, as a player, you're supposed to be able to pick up on that kind of stuff.
Kind of like try to get their body motion, their body language, and read that rather than their face. And then eventually, when I think they're not looking, I'll take a sneak look at their eyes. But I try to sense whether they want me to call or not, based on their body language and what they do.
Okay, the action is going to be on Stan Goldstein.
He's been sitting there, very quiet. He's been pushed around.
All in.
But now he has a real hand. He's going all in, Mike.
Here he goes. He's all in with the king 10 of clubs. Mark folds. Chris says, I call. Now Chris has ace 10 of diamonds. He's in a dominating position here.
The best players can read their opponent's hands from the tiniest clues. Their eyes, their facial expressions, their body language, how they look at their cards, the way their fingers move their chips, the pulse beat in their neck, how they bet.
It's like I'm profiling people at the table. I mean, I'm a profiler. Why did they make this bet? Why do they have this look on their face? Why did they say this? Why did they say that? Boom, another card's come off. Why did they make this bet? Why did they say this? And all this information adds up to one key decision that I have to make. So I have 1 minute to profile them and make my move, and then comes on the next hand. And so I have to profile 500 people every time I play poker.
The herd of potential poker greats is further thinned by the ability to bluff.
Now, Phil Gordon is going to your acting school. He's trying to get an Oscar out of this. He's acting like he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't have much, when in fact he has a powerful hand, queens full of kings.
Sometimes you pick a player to make a bluff against because you think that, A, they either play very tight and won't call you, or that they're a fairly weak player.
He's betting about 6,000, it looks like. Now, Phil Hellmuth has 3 queens. He's looking at 3 hearts on the board.
So you just kind of watch how players play and look for weakness, and if you think that they're either bluffing, then you might make a bluff back, or if you think that they're not going to call you, then you might be the first one to bluff.
Now he turns up the king, queen, and the full house. He's got queens full of kings. He slow rolled them.
Phil Gordon with the absolute rocks. Plays with them here.
Now there's a little gamesmanship here.
In No Limit Hold'em, there are no second chances, and any mistake can be terminal. That's the price you pay to play at the highest level for the highest stakes. The great American card game has finally found a home on the World Poker Tour. Let's go behind the scenes to see some things that nobody's seen. Lights, camera, and plenty of action.
Phil Gordon's done it.
Paul Darden is the Gold Rush Lucky Chances World Poker Tour champion.
That's what the World Poker Tour brings to America each week.
Remember, if he wins this pot, it'll be over 400,000. A big swing here.
He's right back in
Jack. Whoa, a jack comes at the river.
Oh, I can't believe it.
Gus Hansen is hitting lightning at the river.
It's over. Gus has done it.
And here's how they do it. First, 11 tons of equipment are shipped, trucked, lugged, and carted to exotic locations around the world. It takes 75 workers 2 days to assemble the arena and set up the accompanying TV gear, including 14 cameras, up to 6 miles of cable, and a hodgepodge of other technical equipment. And it's enough to impress some of the very best poker players in the world.
This is very exciting to be playing for that kind of money and to have poker's sort of rebirth to the public happening and be a part of that.
As the Mavericks of poker rub up next to Hollywood glitz, there are adjustments to make.
The makeup element. I was like, what's this? It feels funny, you know what I mean?
The World Poker Tour uses the latest technology to bring the excitement of the game to TV audiences. For instance, the revolutionary whole card camera.
Well, Vince, it's really remarkable that we get to see these players' cards and how they play every week here on the World Poker Tour.
There is no more mystery here. We are seeing the cards. That makes it very, very interesting.
It really is dramatic, and it's also educational to get to watch these great players. You can become a better poker player by watching the World Poker Tour.
Okay, Vance, look at Scotty. That last pot took a serious blow to hit stack of chips.
The WPT gets inside the minds of the players with in-depth analysis from poker champion Mike Sexton and Hollywood's home game veteran Vince Van Patten.
He needs an 8 to beat Gus, or he could tie if a 4 comes off.
A 7 comes off.
Oh.
David now has to catch an 8 or a 4 or he's out of this tournament,
You're
Vince.
right.
He doesn't
It's
do
over.
it.
He's gone.
Throw in poker tips.
A beat is when a strong hand loses to a lucky hand. A bad beat is when it happens to you.
For the pros, a bluff doesn't work on just one level. To beat the best in the world, you have to play the game within the game.
Bluffing is obviously important, but being able to read bluffs is critical.
A laydown is a tough decision to fold a strong hand.
Local color.
Million people. Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. I'm Shauna Hyatt from Hollywood, Costa Rica, Aruba, and San Francisco. The finest poker from around the world.
And you have the whole WPT package. Almost. As the World Poker Tour builds to the final event of the season, the World Poker Tour Championship, odds are the action will get even more exciting.
This is just as exciting as playing in the World Series of Baseball.
And then, everything comes back down. Until the next World Poker Tour event.
Up next on the World Poker Tour.
If you get lucky, you play your best, you might make a lot of money.
Unlike any other professional sport, anyone can enter a poker tournament.
And later, tips from the World Poker Tour pros.
Is he bluffing? Could be. German shepherds, huh? I don't trust Germans. 2 cards. Could mean anything. Let's raise the stakes, frighten them off.
No one to play with.
Darn.
So play online at partypoker.com. It's fun, it's easy, it's the world's largest poker room.
All right, okay.
When you watch the World Poker Tour each week, you're watching the survivors, the players who battle their way through the WPT tournaments to win a place at the final table. And while the final table is the ultimate destination, the journey there can be one hell of a ride.
And he's betting 7,000. Absolutely. Now, this is a perfect situation for Ron. Now, what do? You play it slow and just call, or do you raise?
I enjoy tournament poker very much. I like the challenge. I like the competitiveness. It's fun, and it can be not fun.
He folds his hand. Ron Rose picks up the pot.
Well, that's just a thing of beauty.
Tournaments are fun because it requires absolute concentration, and that gives me the ability to forget all my other problems.
Now, Tommy Grimes has a king 5 of hearts this time, and this time he's going to raise it.
He's up against the Devilfish. Devilfish says, I'm all in, and look at this. Tommy quickly calls his bet. I can't believe it.
It's a competition. That's what people like about poker. It's a competition.
We're down to the last card. Can Tommy outdraw the Devilfish? No, he's not going to do it. It's over.
Queen.
If you want to get into the high-octane world of high-stakes poker, a tournament's the only way to go.
It's more fun than playing with live games. You don't have to invest as much money, and if you get lucky, you play your best, you might make a lot of money.
And Daniel has re-raised with absolutely nothing.
And he's going to push Gus out of the pot.
And he wins the pot.
Unlike any other professional sport, Anyone can enter a poker tournament.
This is what blows me away. I've read these guys' books and I see them on TV, but now I'm here. And boy, to me, that's just okie dokie.
Come on. Phil Ivey folds the best hand. Johnny Donaldson put a move on him there to win that pot.
You get too old to run up and down a basketball court, but your mind still works, you can play poker.
World Poker Tour charter members sponsor 13 tournaments throughout the year, each one lasting anywhere from a week to a month. It can be intense.
A tournament's not one day, it's not 2 days, it's a month. A lot of things can happen. You want to give yourself an opportunity to be there at the end, no matter what happens in the beginning.
Players can buy into a tournament by paying a fee, usually $5,000 to $10,000.
$10,000 half time, win game.
Thank you. But there's another way in.
How did you enter this tournament?
I won a super satellite. I paid $220 and I won the seed.
A super satellite is the lottery of tournament poker. Anyone can play, and the entry fee, spread among the many players, can be as little as a few dollars. Casinos will take all comers and give away as many seats as they can. This way, people who can't afford the hefty fees of a seat at the big tournament still get a chance to win their way into the big time and get a shot at the big bucks.
And it's a 5. He doesn't do it.
What a great performance by Johnny Donaldson. He got in this tournament on a $200 satellite. He's taken home over $145,000. He should be very proud today.
Once players sign in, table and seat numbers are randomly drawn.
Tom McAvoy, table 35, seat 6.
And nowhere does the luck of the draw have more meaning than in tournament poker. For instance, you could find yourself at a table filled with 8 novices. That would be good luck. Or you could end up at a table featuring 8 World Poker Tour champions. That would be bad luck.
During this tournament, I've had a lot of positions where I was in bad spots. Like I had Eric Seidel to my left, and next to him was Carlos Mortensen. But there's nothing I can do in that position because both of those are, great players. So it puts you in a tough spot.
Everyone starts with the same amount of chips, but unlike a home game where you can always throw in more money, in a tournament, you can only play those chips you started with. When you tap out, you are done.
Here comes Kathy again. She's picked up a big hand. This is Big Slick Ace-King.
Whoa.
And some days you get busted out early and some days you win.
Kathy Liebert is gone on the second deal of this tournament. Look at her.
When you run out of your chips in a tournament, it's over. You cannot win that tournament. There's nothing to do. It's over. You set out that day to win a poker tournament and you failed. There's no other way to describe it.
At the end of each round, the blinds, those 2 forced bets to the left of the dealer button, increase dramatically, and so does the pressure on the players.
Now, Phil knows that these guys have seen him raise, usually with nothing. This time he's got played back. He has a hand this time, ace-queen of clubs.
He's going all in. He's doing it.
Decisions are everything in a tournament. I mean, when you get down late in the tournament, say it's down to 8 players, 7 players, I mean, one bad decision can cost you a lot of money.
And it's a jack.
Phil is out of this tournament.
What a pot this is. This is a $500,000 pot here. Phil Ivey, leading this tournament most of the day, is out.
Up to 300 people can battle for 2 to 5 days. And as players go out, the tables are consolidated until only 6 finalists remain.
Every time, I get knocked out of a tournament, I go home and I replay everything that happened leading to me getting knocked out. And I think that's important because then you recognize the mistakes you make and you try not to make them again.
The action then moves from the tournament room to the WPT arena for the televised final table. In online tournaments, the preliminary rounds are played over the internet, but the finalists face off in person at the WPT final table.
Let's give everybody a nice hand for making it this far.
The prize pool is shared among the top finishers, with payouts ranging from the hundreds of thousands to over $1 million.
No! Chris has won the tournament.
The winner of each WPT event also receives a $25,000 buy-in to the WPT Championship, a 5-day event where the winner walks out a guaranteed millionaire.
Coming up next,
buy some poker books, get some basic knowledge, and then go out there and play.
tips from the World Poker Tour pros that will take your game over the top.
I'm Lou Diamond Phillips, and you're watching a special edition of the World Poker Tour. 100 million people can't be wrong. And hey, if I can play, anyone can play. But if you're looking for that edge, that little something to get you over the top in your game, look no further. We've got some final tips from the World Poker Tour pros. There are many roads to the final table, and even a few that all the pros agree on.
To really improve your game of poker, you need to go out and buy some good poker books.
Joel Brunson's Super Sisters. It's the best book that has ever been written.
Skolansky has a book called The Theory of Poker, which is a really good book.
For readers, they're going to be like, it's like an instant light bulb. Like, wow, read this and now you're going to know something.
Buy some poker books, get some basic knowledge, and then go out there and play.
Once you put down the books and pull up to a table, the thing to focus on is strategy and your opponents.
If you really want to be good, pay attention at the winning players. Yes, they say they're lucky, but they're also good to keep winning. Just pay attention.
I usually actually watch people before I even look at my cards. I usually don't look at my cards until the action's on me.
Sometimes you want to push a lot, sometimes you want to lay back and let people come to you. So you always have to push and pull just at the right time. And knowing when to do that and having the experience to know when to do that is very, very key to success, especially in tournaments.
You're constantly looking for profitable ways to stray from what would generally be considered to be the proper play. And if you can pick those moments to play a hand in a way that most people wouldn't think is the right way to play the hand, but you're doing that at the right time, those are the most profitable plays in poker.
When I have a hand that's marginal that I'm thinking about calling with, I'm going to then go and turn to like the psychological aspects of the game. I'm going to try to think to myself, well, do I think my opponent wants me to call or does he want me to fold? And then I just do the opposite.
You can teach anybody to play mathematically poker. But now if you mix it up with your personality and then you put those two together and make it work for you as opposed to it just breaking even for you.
One of the very best, remember. He is one of the very best. They call him lean back-to-back flack.
I think it's more than just emotion. They're like chemical reactions that happen in the body that you have to let them level off. And you just have to, they call it steaming for a reason. Your face turns red, your temperature goes up.
I think that if everyone at the table likes me, I've got a better chance to win. I don't want people gunning after me because of my attitude, throwing cards or talking badly to the dealers. I just try to conduct myself like a professional and let the cards fall where they may.
When the cards come crashing down, the pros agree. You've got to keep your emotions in check.
It's an emotional game, really. It's like anything else. You try very hard to do something or accomplish something, and all of a sudden the card turns just out of luck or whatever, and it just all falls through. And you got to be able to deal with that. Period.
You just try to mentally stay focused, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes you lose it. I mean, we're not robots here. We're people.
For those of you with dreams of turning pro,
have a job. Play plenty of poker in your free time. Start off small, and you can always slowly work your way up. I started off playing $2 limit poker, and I lost at it for 2 years. If it's something you love to do and you feel like you can get good at the game, you've got your whole life ahead of you to start playing higher and higher. So there's no need to jump right in at high stakes.
I mean, no matter what happens tomorrow, we're all going to wake up and get another opportunity.
Hard work is just like any and everything. It's a job. You got to play, and it'll be some disappointments, but you got to keep going at it.
So now you know the rules of the game, and you've got some tips from the best players on the tour. But this is just a taste. If you really want to hone your poker skills and raise the level of your game, just keep coming back to the World Poker Tour every week. There's no better way for you to get into the game. I'm Lou Diamond Phillips, and on behalf of the World Poker Tour, may all your hands be live and all your pots be monsters. shuffle up and deal. Good night.